Hello and welcome to the Tinker Cards video gallery. Today I'm going to make a concertina tag card with you. I'm using stamps by Lavinia Stamps. So what I've prepared here is I've cut a piece of white card, 28 centimeters by 13 centimeters, and I've added score lines at 7 centimeters intervals. And then I used my envelope punch board to align the center of my score lines with the center of the notch and punched some notches in, and then at each edge I did half one, and when they fold together so you end up with the front as a tag shape, which we will be doing in a minute. Now first of all I'm going to apply some color here, so I'm going to work with blue, pink and yellow. So the idea is to have some blue at the bottom, have some yellow here, and then have it going into sort of probably blending the pink and the yellow, so that goes into orange, and then at the top have a sort of little layer of blue again. So I'm just going to use some brushes to apply my yellow and my pink before sort of using the blue then more around the edges. So I'm going to quickly start with the yellow. It's going to be a Christmas card, so I'll just see, basically it's playtime for me, and I'm aiming at creating a bit of a bubbly type of background, so I'll just see where it takes me really. So I haven't prepared this before. I've made other tag cards before with sort of like the same style really, but I really haven't prepared exactly how I want to do this. I've just prepared my stencil for the circles, and we take it from there. So with some stars and fairies, and just see where it takes me really. So I'm just going to do a light yellowy background, a sort of strip of yellow really. So, and I'll have to come back to the yellow again later for the front of my card, because I want to have that in similar colours really. But I didn't want these folds here to stand out too much and catch the ink too much. That's why I decided to leave my card flat rather than folding it right now. So I have to do the front later. Let's just see. So that's my yellow. Let's then go on to the pink. So the yellow, by the way, is Daffodil Delight, and the pink is Melon Mambo. I'm working with Stampin' Up inks, so which I tend to use quite a bit really. The ink pads are relatively big and the ink is relatively easy to pick up, so why not? So I'm just popping my pink on, and you can already see how it's reacting with the yellow to give me this sort of bit of orange there, this orange glow. Oops, some pink has gone on there which it shouldn't. Never mind. So let's leave this for the moment, and I'm just quickly doing the edges with a dried baby wipe rather than using my brushes, because I just didn't get that brush out. And I have prepared some baby wipes, and can I find them right now? Oh, this is the gremlins moving in, so I'll just take another old one and see where it takes me. Yeah, got one here. So using dried baby wipes is basically a butchered alternative to using a blending tool. So I'm getting a little bit of green in here with the yellow, which is what I wanted. So I'm not quite sure. I might go around the edges later on, but at the moment I'm not too sure that I really wanted to do it like that. So let's just go in and into the pink to get a little bit of purple coming in. And if you get like little smudges like that, it doesn't matter because we'll be stamping over them and it will just be very interesting what colours are going to come out of this later. So basically I've chosen my colours because I'm hoping that they blend quite well, and it should hopefully give me some sort of nice shades when I'm going to come to, let's rewind again, when I come to do my stenciling really. So I'm quite happy with that for the moment. So I was going to start my stenciling off with, let's do the yellow and just see where it takes me. So, and what I've done here, I've prepared a piece of card with I punched different sizes holes out, starting with 1/2 inch, an inch, an inch and a quarter, and that was 3/4 or something like that. An inch and 3/4 or something along the lines, or 3/4 of an inch, and an inch is the biggest. I'm not quite sure, but I just use different sizes, and that's all I'm at the moment wanting to know. So let me just use a different corner of this baby wipe for the yellow. And I'm just going to start stenciling now my bubbles into different places in different sizes. And I'm really sort of just doing it with the yellow. And that should be quite nice. There you go. So that's the effect that I want to get. So I'm just going to go pretty much all over. And in some places a bit lighter and in others a little bit darker. Maybe do sort of like half one. So there we go. This will be quite interesting. So here we go. And let's pop another one over here. And I think then I'll start doing going for some smaller ones. So let's just pop some in there and in here. And another one here. And let's do one here. So this is where it comes in quite well, that if you got colours that do mix with each other. So let's just go down another size and add some. Let's just see, let's do one very small one here. I'm just sort of going along now, sort of playing, just seeing where I want what to go really. And just mixing the sizes in. I'll be doing some stamping over this as well at some point. so that it won't stay like that. Just starting to build something up here. And I think I'm not going to do any in the pink or whatever. I just use the yellow for my little bubbles. So let's put another one up here. And here. And let's go there. And here. And here. So I think I'll leave it at that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to fold this up and I'm going to get my front done. So let's just pop this in. And this is what's going to be my front. I'll leave the other ones just flat, it will be easier. No, I need to fold them all up, sorry. I just fold them all up. I can I'm going to burnish them a bit later. So what I'm going to do now is get my yellow brush out. And just do this. Just get a little bit of yellow on there. Leave that yellow out, I need that in a minute. And then we do some pink. So that is that. Let's put that out of the way. And some blue. Oops, here we go. So let's get my blue out again for the edge here. And just quickly, this is going to be a little bit darker because it's more difficult to come right off my paper. I'm using paper rather than a blending mat because I don't want ink to stay on the blending mat and then get onto the back here where it's supposed to stay white, really, because I'm only going to do part of the tag with that. It's going to be blended with inks, and it doesn't matter if it's a little bit blotchy because we'll be stamping over it and you won't notice it that much at the end. So just going to do that a little bit there. Right, so that's my front, and what I need to do now is add some bubbles to that. Get my stencil again and just start here. So we got a big yellow one. Let's go in here. Let's do a half one at the bottom. Oops, that's slightly moved. So I'm hoping that that isn't too bad. No, you can't see it that much, so that's okay. Let's go for some smaller ones. And another one here. So, right, next. So I'm going to start off doing some stamping now, and I'll start off with the yellow as well. I'm going to use dye ink again because I find that helps to blend the colours in, and it's just like a really nice way of adding texture. So I'm going to use these pots. I'm just going to use the small one of them because I think the large one is going to be a bit too big. So pop that on, and I'm just going to use some yellow, or Daffodil Delight as it is. And pop them sort of wherever you want. Do a few of them at different heights. And you can see sort of it just comes out as a little bit sort of like a dreamy type of image. And that's exactly the effect I wanted. So I'll pop that here. So let's just turn this over. And I'm just going to pop a couple of these onto the front as well. So that is one. And two. So this is all really for the background. I'm not going to add a sort of major other detail in in darker ones. That will come later. So I'm just going to build up some background texture here. And then sort of they got these little, I can't remember what they're called, but these little sort of like dotty florally bits, some stars, whatever you want to call them. So I'm going to stamp some of them in yellow as well. And then others I'll go on to getting some orange out, which I'll be using. The one that I'll be using is pumpkin pie. So I'm going to use this larger one mainly around the edge. And towards my score lines where the folds are. Just go up and down there. Maybe even add some sort of to the center, sort of down just above sort of your bottom line here, because I'll be stamping some other bits below. So all I want is a little bit of sort of something that fills without becoming too dominant, really. So this is one. And then there's some others here that I quite like. Let's do one of these sort of spidery ones. Just pop them wherever you want. So that is some of the printing ink that's come on here. So just start with a few yellow ones off. Start off with a few yellow ones. And I need that first one again for my front. So I'm just going to pop a couple on here. And then I fold it. Okay. So next I'm going to use that little spidery one and just come in with actually stamping it with an orange colour with pumpkin pie. And that's what I'm going to do generational stamping, which means you stamp it once and then you just immediately stamp it another once or twice without re-inking. And again, that gives you some added sort of texture. The reason why I went for this particular stamp, it almost looks like a little sort of like fancy star snowflake type of stamp really, and I rather like the look of it. So just put one here. So just add a couple to the front. So that is that. And now next I'm going to go for the blue again, and I'm going to stamp my star border. So I'm hoping that this is not going to be too long as a video. You can also do some generational stamping with this. This is where I need to fold it over again. And they don't have to be very exact, because you can always go over it. It's a bit of a psychedelic type of look, sort of a bit 60s-ish, but I sort of quite like it. There's a nice retro feel about it. So now I'm going to just add some here as well. So I'm just doing this as sort of basically like I feel really. Let's pop some in here. So all of this gives really a sense of dimension without having to without having to get some depth in or create a landscape. I want this to be a little bit floaty anyway. It's going to be a Christmas card, so we'll be putting that Christmas tree in. I know you might think they're more like summery colours. I just have to see what we do, how it's going to pan out. Let's get this off. So let's do this. Now I've got some grasses which I wanted to go up. They'll be going in as a darker colour later on, sort of around the bottom here. And I've got the Christmas tree, and I think I shall be stamping that first now before I do anything else. Oh, where's that gone? It's sticking. So let me see, where have I got a block that I can use for that? That's not big enough. Let's get this off and pop it somewhere. There we go. Let's use the big block here. Oops, there is something that got stuck here. Let me just see if it's the other side. Nope, it's here. I need to get that off because that will distort the image. So I've got that off. It's like a little fleck of something. And I'm going to stamp this here in black on here. So let me just have a think, because I need to do some grounding for that later, so I will just add a little bit more blue to it. Let's get the black out and stamp it first. Let's just do that. So that's my, oh, it's not covered quite as well because I did it to the side where it was a little bit in the shade. I didn't quite notice that, so I've got to go over that again. So it's always quite good to have relatively good light when you're doing this. Right, so that's going to be my fairy tree here. So that's perfect. Next, I can do some grounding. I'll do that in a little bit. Just let this one here dry off a little. So, and now I'm going to go in with this, and I'm going to get some white craft ink to give a bit of a frosty, icy feel to it. And I might actually go in and do exactly the same with the with some of the stars. Just see what effect I get. I mean, can't go more than wrong, really, I think. So let's just see. All I need to do is then be careful where I'm stamping. You can't see it. That's not that good. Normally it does, it should be more visible actually, because it's sort of white. No, you can't really. It might come out changing the color slightly. I'll do it anyway for some shading. And then I just get a darker Versafine ink to go over it again. Let's just see where it takes me. So this is more like ghosting the those little flourishes, and you can just about see here how it's sort of just adding a shadow and it's changing the ink slightly. It takes a while to react and come out, but it's actually quite a nice airy effect. So let's do this. I'm not going to do that with the stars just yet, or should I? Let me just see what that will do. So I'm just going to do that one along the top really, and coming down. Now you can start to see it, so just see what it does. So let's see, that is that. And this is where I'll probably ruin my ink pad, but I don't care because I don't use it that often anyway. So now I need to get my Versafine inks out to get some darker ones of these flourishes on. So let me just wipe these off. So I'm just thinking, do I need an icy blue, or no? I think I'll go for darker. It needs the grounding now. So where have I got my inks? Just bear with me a sec. This is what happens when I sort of start playing around, and then one idea leads to another one, and so I wanted something darker. So here we go. So I've got some Versafine ink now. Let's just pop these in here. And you can see so that just adds a little depth, and it's got quite almost like quite a joyful type of feel to it, rather summery. So I'm thinking this has got to be a card for Australia, I'd like to think, or other countries who celebrate Christmas in the summer. Maybe I should actually add some more of these in. So let's just see. So we got a little bit more here. Just pop one there and one here. So I think that's quite nice. So all I need to do is a little bit of grounding here, and then probably see what I need to do at the front. So, right, I need some white stars at the front as well. And then maybe get some black bubbles coming up for more magic. Let's see what is just how this is going to come together. This is going to be a very long video, I'm afraid. So let's put the Versafine ink away. Shall I do these? To get something to bring the magic in. Get the black. I'm hoping that I'm not going to make things worse now. Ooh. Never mind if I do. Let's just do that. Yep. See that, and that. Let's just see. Start another one lower down. And here. So I'm just blagging this now. I haven't got a plan really, but it's quite nice to sort of play around really. So let's see where we're going with this. That and that. So, right. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to clean up my star stamp, and then I'm going to use the darker blue again, the darker blue Versafine ink, and just go along the top edge, and then that should be nicely framed. And hopefully we can then sort of stamp the sentiment on. Not quite sure yet exactly where I'm going to put it, but it will come together. Cards usually have a habit of doing that. I know these are not traditional colours, they're so untraditional, and the stamps as well, that right, and come down the sides as well. Okay, and just a little bit around the front. So this will all blend in, hopefully. Right. And now let me get the sentiment out. Let's see where that goes best on. So when I got sentiments, quite often I just, or any long stamp or frames, I tend to just pop them on my surface, almost like drop them from a height, and then I just pick them up with my block, and usually they are straight, especially if you sort of have frames. If you try and pop them on your block with your hands, they always go a bit skew, but if you just drop them down, and then they fall into position, and they're quite easy to pick up with your acrylic block. So where are we going to pop this? Have a very Merry Christmas. I think that goes quite nicely in here. So let's just do that. Oops, let's just get that off. That should hopefully fit in here quite nicely. And it goes about here. There we go. That's my sentiment. So have a very Merry Christmas. Now I know it's a sort of a busy-ish card. I might just pop a little bit of something on somewhere. Oh, I need to do the little bit of blending that I said earlier for some grounding. So if we just use a blending mat for that, let me just see. Let's pop all of this out of the way. And this could be some pink here. So I'll just get a little bit of, oh no, it needs to go a little bit higher. So you can see nicely through there where your writing is. So if I just use my pink brush, which should hopefully have still a little bit of ink on, and just flick a little bit into my card, and it hopefully should have slightly highlighted the... No, it hasn't done it to the same extent that I had hoped, so that means I've got to what am I going to do now? I just keep on, because I don't want it to be too visible. So yeah, it's just slightly darker. I'm not quite sure whether you can see it on camera, but it's sort of like highlighting the sentiment a little bit better as compared to what it was. Now, I got this here, and I got some blue hopefully still on there. So I'm just going to come in a little bit of blue to... No, I need to pick up a little bit more. That's not quite enough to highlight the base of the Christmas tree, really. This is where I wished I had a little bit more space around where I do my videos, but unfortunately I haven't, so it's all a bit tight. So there you go. So that looks as if the tree is actually sitting on something there. Yep. So that should be quite nice. All that is needed now is a little bit of glitter and a little bit of sparkle, and then that's a Christmas card ready and done, a tag card. So you just got the front here, which is fairly non-committal. I might just maybe get a dragonfly out and put that on as well. Actually, I feel it needs something else apart from the bubbles. And then we got the fairy Merry Christmas with the fairies decorating the tree. Okay, so that's me done for now. Thank you for watching. I know this has been very long, but you could theoretically craft along and then you get an idea how long it takes. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching, and I shall be back soon.